Hey guys, this is Marina and you're watching the weekly horoscope starting from the 9th of October until the 15th of October. And this week we have some interesting ingressions, we have some interesting aspects, so stay with me if you want to learn more and be prepared. And at the very beginning, so on Monday, we start with a challenging combination because we have the Sun and Mercury joined together in Libra, but at the same time they will square Pluto in Capricorn. So the squares are considered to be a challenging aspect, and especially when we talk about Pluto, you can expect facing with some kind of obstacles. And this is definitely not a good time to try to communicate with some authority figures or people who are higher in the in the hierarchic system, or also to apply for some things related with institutions, like solving some things or receiving some kind of, for example, documents or agreements or whatever it is. These activities can be more difficult than usual. And Pluto is also the planet related with collective power and collective will, and that's why we may feel like we have to fight against someone else who is very strong. For example, we may feel like we are being controlled by something, or sometimes people may confront more with each other. So definitely we should be more cautious, especially on Monday. And the fact that Mercury is also squaring Pluto suggests that it might be more difficult to communicate with people. It might, for example, we might be more suspicious. We might be unable to trust other people. And we might be focused too much on the negative side. We might be unable to see the positives, to see some bright perspectives. It might be all about, the dark side, the negative side of things. So be aware of that. Of course, sometimes we can't fight with that, and we don't have to fight. We just have to accept that and wait for the better days actually to come up, and they're definitely coming ahead. So next, on Tuesday, we have something very important. We have Jupiter entering Scorpio, and Jupiter will stay there for 1 year, so this one is a huge event. And of course, it's going to influence every one of us in a different way, depending on your sun sign, depending on your ascendant sign, also depending on the position of Jupiter in your horoscope. So it's important whether you have a strong Jupiter or your Jupiter is in a weak position. Is it visible or invisible? Is it included in some major configuration with other planets or not? All of these indications are important about the influence of Jupiter. Also, it's extremely important in which sign you have your birth Jupiter in your natal chart. And we are going to have a different video, and I will explain how each of us are going to feel the influence of Jupiter depending on the position of Jupiter in our birth horoscope. So stay tuned if you want to learn more about it. But generally speaking, Jupiter in Scorpio should be a positive transit for some financial issues, for the bank sector, because Scorpio is a sign which is related with finances, with investments, with making some big steps in this direction. Also, Scorpio, of course, is related with the occult, with the secret things. So all kinds of activities related to that can be can bring more success. We may experience more joy. We may have the opportunity actually to devote ourselves more on that. But as I said, we're going to talk in details in a different video about Jupiter. Now, the next aspect that we have is on Wednesday, and it's also a tough one. We have square between Mars in Virgo and Saturn in Sagittarius. And this is an especially challenging aspect, we have to admit that, because the nature of these planets is so different and they're considered to be kind of enemies, you know, because Mars is the planet related with action, with being brave, taking risks, you know, being impulsive. On the other hand, Saturn is the planet that tells us to stay where we are, to try to keep things as they are, not to change, not to hurry, not to waste our energy. So you can see there is a total contradiction and conflict actually between the nature of these two planets. That's why when they are also in connected with a difficult aspect, it might be even more challenging for us to, you know, to find the balance actually. And it may turn out that, for example, you want to do something, you want to risk, or, you know, just to start doing something, but on the other hand, something might stop you. It might be an inner feeling, or it might be because some outer obstacles don't allow you to move forward. And of course, it brings some kind of frustration. So, you know, you have to be prepared. On the other hand, this combination, of course, can also be positive. I mean that it has some positive sides, because people who are really disciplined, who are really organized, for example, people who are ready, you know, to take responsibility, they all have some positive connection or some kind of connection between Mars and Saturn in their birth chart. For example, people who work in the police, or for the security of other people, or in the military, they have this combination very often. Of course, not every time, not always, but very often they have this combination. And this is the positive side. So this is the positive side of the square between Mars and Saturn, is that we might be really responsible about the things that we want to do, and we can also be very persistent. So even if we are struggling with something and it's not working very well, we may find this strength within ourselves to move forward and just, you know, to be persistent. So of course we can choose how to use the influence of this aspect. Next, we have on the 12th, we have a sextile between Mercury and Uranus. And, Mercury and Saturn, of course, Mercury and Saturn. Now, this is a positive one. Finally, we have a positive aspect. And this one can help us to be, especially for some kind of intellectual activities, to be really practical, to be really concentrated, to be very persistent, to be very logical. And you know, you may think of some practical solutions, or you may have some new ideas which you are able to implement in the reality. So it can be a really productive and really valuable transit for those of us who need to be more concentrated and focused on something, to be precise, to be logical, to be able to evaluate the situation, because Mercury is in Libra, and Libra is the sign that, you know, makes some judgments about others. So for example, this one is good and this one is not good, and I like this, I don't like the other stuff. This is all Mercury in Libra. And when Saturn is making a positive aspect with Mercury, when Mercury is in Libra especially, it suggests that our judgments and the qualifications that we give to certain things, they can be actually very accurate. And we are able to see things as they are, to be realistic, to be, you know, precise in our judgments. So it can be very, very positive aspect. And next we have on the 14th Venus entering Libra, which is a very good news, because of course Venus is the ruler of Libra, and that's why when it enters its own sign, the influence is very positive. And it's very positive for everything in terms of relationships and partnerships and communication with others. We may be more romantic than usual, and actually it's very good time to show your feelings and actually to be more balanced on an emotional level, because Libra, when Venus is strong, we are emotional, but those type of emotions, they are not, so intense and so, making us, controlling us actually. It's the opposite. When Venus is strong, we are able to control our emotions. Of course, we feel it on the inside, but we don't allow our emotions to control everything in our life. So that's why when Venus is in Libra, we might be more balanced on an emotional level, and we may enjoy more harmony around us, or or enjoy the art or beauty stuff, or change our appearances, for example. Everything related with Venus actually can be more positive for all of us generally. Okay, and next we have a more challenging aspect. On the 15th, we have an opposition between Mercury and Uranus. Now, Mercury is still in Libra and Uranus is in Aries. And this axis is related with our communication, how we interact with others. That's why for some of us, this may bring challenges in terms of communicating with others. We might be extremely nervous, we might be more impatient, and we may take some really unexpected decisions. Our behavior can be different than usual, and it might bring some challenges in our relationships and communications with others. On the other hand, Uranus can be related with having some unexpected and very interesting ideas, like finding some solutions that you haven't thought about before, because Mercury is the planet of our thinking. That's why this opposition can be related with finding some really interesting decisions and having interesting ideas. Very often it might be through communicating with another person. So if you need to find a solution about something, you're totally stuck about certain situation, or you need a different approach, this aspect actually is very good to go and to communicate with people, because through this communication you can have some like an insight, a totally different perspective about something. You can change your opinion, or you may understand something, and all of that will come through the communication with another person. So if you need that different approach, go and communicate with people. And of course, remember that you might be more nervous, or you might be more impatient, and all of that is totally normal. Okay, and next we have to say a few words about the moon, the transit moon during this week. On Monday and Tuesday, the moon is in Gemini, so this is a good position for communication, for contacts, for traveling, and also, of course, everything which includes writing, speaking, interacting with people, working with information, meeting with friends. All of this can be very positive on Monday and Tuesday. Then on Wednesday and Thursday, the moon is in Cancer, which can make us more emotional, more vulnerable. Sometimes, especially women, they can be oversensitive. Those of you who are more emotional like me, very often we may cry a lot, and sometimes we don't know why, or it's for some small things. We are just over emotional when the moon is in Cancer. On the positive side, this is a great position to communicate more with your family, to spend more time with children or with parents, or just to stay more at home and to enjoy the comfort of your home. Usually we are not so focused on work. We prefer more to take a rest, to relax when the moon is in Cancer. And then on Friday and Saturday, the moon is in Leo, and this is a totally different energy. It's more about parties and having fun and enjoying your life, and the desire to attract more attention from others, to impress other people. So if you need a change in your life, then this is a great time actually to go out there and just to have fun and to wear your beautiful clothes, and for women to put on their makeup and just to be fabulous and to enjoy everything. Okay, and finally on Wednesday we have the moon in Virgo. So again, the energy changes. You have to be more focused on some practical things, to be more analytical, to pay attention on the details. For example, if you have to clean something, the moon in Virgo is great for that. Or if you want to make a purification of your body, then this is also a very positive position of the moon. So be careful what you are eating, what you're doing with your body, how you're taking care of your physical body and your health. And okay, what else can we say? It looks like the week is going to be very interesting because there are so many things happening. We have ingressions of planets, we have exact aspects, and it's going to be very interesting. So I will be very happy to hear from you and how you're handling with this aspect. So if you would like, please leave a comment. I will be happy to read it. And if you want to be prepared for next week, if you want to be prepared for next month, you can go to MarStars.net and subscribe for receiving news, and I will be happy to send you emails with the most interesting things which are about to happen. Okay, so thank you guys very much for watching this video, and I will see you very soon.